Hi, welcome to episode 2 of my Spearhead series, which is a relatively new series because I've only just got the second issue. Well, I only got the first and the second issue. Hopefully these will be up on the interwebs soon, as I haven't put the first one up yet. But as I said in the previous one, I'm getting back into gaming with my son Max, who's not here tonight. I've done a review of the first issue if you want to go check that out, and this is me doing a review of the second issue. As always, these reviews are a bit warts and all because this is me opening it up and seeing what's in it, so I'm discovering it with you. To those of you new to the channel, you may notice the twitching I just did. I have Tourette's. It's a thing. I've got to deal with it, so do you. Issue 2 is Rat Ogres. I'm going to check these models out. I have checked out the price. These are about 40 odd quid, and you are paying about $6.99 for them. Actually, I'm going to double check that. Yep, well, they're selling them for £30.40 in Wayland Games. So yeah, they're calling them Skaven Storm Fiends, and those are slightly different. Yep, so these are about £30 worth of models that you're getting for the second issue, which is priced at $6.99. So that's a substantial saving. If you're already a Skaven player, there's a great opportunity to go out and grab 2 or 3 issues, and then you've got as many Rat Ogres as you could want for a fraction of the price. So that's pretty cool. It's coming in 2 sprues, although 2 of them are kind of like, one of them is a double sprue and one of them is a half sprue. As you can see, it's the standard GW grey plastic. Nice and good, nice and flexible. We're not seeing any of the cheaper plastics that we've seen in some of the previous ones. Copyright on these is 2024, so these models are only a couple of years old, which is probably why the quality is so damn amazing. These are some really nice models. They're big, they're grotesque, and they're scary. I'm sure they're going to make a great addition to anybody's armed force. They are the second addition to the Skaven unit. The first ones you got with issue 1, which was the Warlock Engineer, which I know as the Warlock Engineer, and was also called the Warlock Engineer in the magazine. And you've got an Age of Sigmar character as well. Sorry, they're both Age of Sigmar characters. What am I talking about? You got a Stormcast character as well. Yeah, as you can see, the quality on these is fantastic. For my money, GW do the best plastics. Each part is individually numbered, so you don't have to worry about figuring out how to build it. It will tell you exactly how to put it together. As with a lot of them these days, these are going to be single pose miniatures, which means they go together one way and one way only. I much prefer the multi-pose miniatures. It's one of the reasons I still collect a lot of 40k stuff, because there's still a lot of multi-pose miniatures. And of course, we've got the bases, which are the most important part. We've got 3 bases here, which are particularly large. Appropriately monstrous size bases, which is a good thing. It means you can get a lot of guys into contact with them, and they can do a lot of damage and take up a lot of guys. We've got this bit, it's just fallen out. It's again just advertising bump, telling you what's coming up, what you can get if you pay extra money for the premium kits. And to be fair, $2.50 extra per issue, it's quite a bit of money, because there's going to be about 80, I think it's 82 issues of the last one, but you've got 4 fantastically big models. The only issue I would say is they are for different models for different armies, and if you're not into every army, you might not be into every model. But also for that, you do get a lot of other bits and pieces, like your modelling kits, your clippers, your little basically all the little extra bits and pieces like that come with a premium as well. It's almost worth it for the mug, frankly. I like the mug. But there you go. That's their advertising. Bit of a shame that the glue has wrecked this picture here. That's actually a fantastic piece of artwork in the back. Like I say, it's just a shame that the glue that holds the magazine on has absolutely banjaxed it. But we will start, and again, more advertising on the back. I would imagine, as per usual, we'll stop getting the cardboard backings by the third issue. Not that it particularly matters, it's just more junk. But here we go, we've got 3 rat ogres. Issue 2 has the 2 guys that you collected in the first one in the background of these 3 giant Vermin Doom. The Vermin Doom. Learn to play. Build your models. As always, page 1 is content. Oh, that was stuck together a bit. Annoyingly, mine's already ripped. That happens. It's not the best quality magazine, and frankly, by the time you've collected all 80 issues of it, a lot of it may well be out of date or replaced. A lot of the stuff we've got here is Spearhead, whereas the Spearhead stuff has been released to get people into the armies. And one of the things that they tend to do with these magazines, as I said, is they take stuff that they may have overproduced and they sell it. They don't make money off it, but it stops them making a loss off it as well, which frankly I'm all for, because I want to see GW be around tomorrow. We've got a nice little Skaven story. The hordes of the vermin of Skaven are one of the vile forces of chaos that wreak havoc across the realms. These cunning humanoid rats employ all manner of foul sorcery, bizarre technology, and devious subterfuge to triumph in war. And anything their cunning cannot defeat will be overwhelmed by their endless swarms. Which is pretty true. I don't know what the meta is for Skaven under the current issue. Hopefully I'll learn it as we play. I do know that Skaven have always been one of GW's trickier armies to beat, simply because from the get-go the rules are always written by cheating bastards. Back in I think it was 3rd edition, might have been 2nd. When the Skaven first came out, they had several advantages for the same points cost as the average human. And this is to do with the way that GW pointed out models. Well, actually, that's not true. For half a point less than the average human. The average human was 5 points. The average Skaven was 4.5 points. Now, this was important. I'll get to that in a minute. But for 4.5 points, you got something that had -3 leadership, but +1 movement and +1 initiative in the initial setup. And that sounds great, and that sounds like a reasonable balance until you realise that in the initial Warhammer Fantasy, they got +1 leadership for each rank, and you never took them in anything less than massive great units of like 4 or 5 deep, meaning that for half a point less, you got +1 initiative, +1 which defined who hit first when you weren't charging, +1 movement, which meant they could go further, obviously. And usually, instead of having a lower leadership, well, sorry, no, it wasn't -, it was just -1. It was your average human was leadership 8, your average Skaven was leadership 7, which really did make a difference. But instead of having leadership 7, they usually had leadership 10, which meant for half a point less, you got a model that was absolutely better. In addition to that, that half a point was important because the way GW built models at the time was they had a rule system behind the rule system. So anything that was less than 5 points, because it was considered generally weaker and likely to run the fuck away, got all its weapons for half price. So your average Skaven would be about 25 to 30% cheaper than your average human for better leadership, better movement, and better initiative. and that continued on through most of Warhammer Fantasy. I do not know how they play in Sigmar. I have yet to actually play them in Sigmar, and the truth is I haven't played Age of Sigmar since it first came out, when it had no point systems and was an absolute sort of raw game. And they said, look, this is for you to work out, because every time we give you a bunch of rules, you keep acting like dicks. Sorry for swearing. There will be swearing in these videos. But the background for them is wonderful. The models for them are wonderful. The idea for them is great. We've got more sort of background story on the Skaven here. You notice I often read the beginning blurb, but I don't read too much because this is stuck together. Damn it. That is not good. The adhesive has leaked through on these holes, meaning that I am tearing this up as I open it. Okay, it's stopped by the third page. That's good. As I say, the quality on the magazines isn't the best, but again, it's not the worst, and they are meant to come apart as well. I can probably go down W.H. Smith. Sorry, it's called T.G. Jones now, isn't it? And get some little ring reinforcers if I really want to keep this. We've got some information on the Great Horned Rat, who is a minor Chaos God. He's not one of the big four, but the Skaven are so numerous that he's about as big as you can get without being one of the big four. However, as a vermin and a plague lord, he does touch on some of the same areas as Nurgle does. And you can see just the sheer size of the model is that is a demon of the Great Horned Rat, called the Horned One. Once a minor deity, only worshipped by the lowly Ratmen, he has, however, risen to become one of the newest Chaos Gods, one of the great ruinous powers themselves. Yep. So he's basically become now one of the big five. That happened early on in Age of Sigmar. In the beginning of Age of Sigmar, one of the reasons for that is that Age of Sigmar was aimed at a much younger audience than Warhammer Fantasy, and as such, Slaanesh, the god of excess, was not exactly PG-13, and so they temporarily retired him. He's back now. She's back now. They're back now. I've got to get that right. They're back now, which is cool, but it took them a while to figure out how to work them out in the system, and from what I can gather, they just didn't. They went, okay, he's a god. They're a god of shagging and perversity. Teenagers, deal with it. Yeah, parental guidance recommended for Slaanesh. That being said, I do think it's quite amusing. You've got a god of bloodshed and murder, that's fine, but a god of sex, that's not. It goes into the Vermin Doom, which is the Skaven basically trying to take over the world on behalf of their god. You have Blight City, which is one of the Skaven strongholds. And it goes into how the Skaven burrow into reality. They basically form their own kind of warp network, a bit like the Eldari walkway, but with rat tunnels. You've got the obligatory how to build, which will tell you in specific detail how to put these Skaven rat together. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 3.5 pages long, which is quite long for these, but it will give you stuff. It will give you some cool stuff. You've got the how to paint. There wasn't a how to paint in the last one, and they haven't given you any paints yet, so I'm not sure what they expect you to do. But they are teaching you, or your kid, depending on who you're buying this for, the basic principles of painting, and I'm going to try and go through that with Max. At the moment, I've been teaching him slap chop because it's a very easy way to paint models. There's plenty of videos on slap chop. If you guys really want, I'll do one myself. included with your collection. For every unit of Warhammer Age of Sigmar Spearhead collection, you'll receive an in-depth painting guide. You're going to get brushes, you're going to get paint, and you're going to get some bits and pieces as it goes on, so you are going to be able to paint them. It's then going through fighting with units, covering single models and tokens, which is cool. Tokens is a loose term these days in Games Workshop's vernacular. Basically, they provide models that don't do anything, don't have any stats. They are there to represent a power being active or a power being used. It covers units of a single model, and there's your Warlock Engineer or Warlock Engineer, and it's covering a token and your Lord Verdant Griffcrow, which is basically a black Griffhound, ebony, which is pretty fucking cool, frankly. Yeah, it's a slight variant on the Griffhounds. Oh god, this whole thing is sticking together. But it's covering the rules, it's covering the Lord Veritant and the Rat Ogres, different attacks on the same unit, and it's got a nice simple explanation of the things, of the rules. And then, as always, you've got Battle 2 Unit Tutorial, where you're going to learn to use the Rat Ogres against the Lord Veritant. That seems a bit of a one-sided fight, but being as it's to learn the rules, it doesn't need to be complicated. Going through the turns, where it's giving you each an individual theoretical turn of what might happen, what might happen, and then it's actually talking about what you can do, and then you decide what happens in the game. But it gives you an example of how it kind of should work, just in case it goes completely skewered for you, which I think is very good. Got your victory conditions for your Skaven and your Lord Veritant. I've already played the previous battle with Max. We each took turns being the Grey Seer and the Lord Veritant, and the Lord Veritant won every single time, which was good, I thought. Getting to the last page, which has got the basics again, all the Spearhead stuff, telling you what it's going to get, and again, some tokens you can cut out and use. I haven't bothered, mostly because they're paper, and I know one gust of wind they're going to float away. Plus, they're just wound tokens. I use pennies, people use other things. And then the last page, we've got it telling you what's coming along in issue 3. If you don't know what's coming along, look away now and close your ears. But in issue 3, we have Liberators, the Storm's Eye, and a new combat tutorial. And we've got these guys here who are the Liberators, who are some of the older original models, although these guys actually look, I swear these guys look a bit leaner. So these guys might be a new iteration of the original Liberators. They might not. It might just be the way they've got them posed. But you're going to get 5 Liberators in the next one, which means by issue 4 you will have 1 leader and 1 unit each to play with, which means you and whoever you're collecting this with will have equal armies to play with, or you can play with yourself. We're all for playing with yourself on this channel. No kink shaming here. But that's issue 2. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you enjoyed my sparkly nails. They're sparkly. And I will see you guys hopefully next week when issue 3 gets delivered. This episode and episode 1 and episode 3 may all come out at the same time, simply because I got issue 1 and 2 quite late because I was waiting to see my son. Me and his mother have sadly separated. Well, not sadly. I was thinking sadly indicates the end of a good marriage. This was the end of a marriage that had run its course. She did nothing wrong. I did a lot wrong. Nothing that serious. And I got sick as well, and the whole thing just needed to run its course. But I get him every weekend, and next week I'm going to have him for an entire week because it's half term, so there's going to be a lot of playing Spearhead, hopefully with both models, both sets of models. If we get a chance, I'll record a video, but that'll depend entirely on whether or not Max wants to be on a video and whether or not his mum wants him to be on a video. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed that review, and I'll see you next time.